So yeah, I'm Ruben, tech lead at VMware, or Tanzu by VMware by Broadcom, something like that. I don't know, yeah, we'll skip this. You can find me on the internet. Yeah, so there was a previous talk that some colleagues of mine did about Carvel at KubeCon, so I highly recommend watching that, because this is, I don't know, I will be taking their demos, their stuff, and Boshifying that. But yeah, quick summary. YTT, it's a templating tool for YAML templates. It works well with Kubernetes, but you can also use it for Bosh. We do it, we even use it for some of our concourse pipelines. KApp, it's really Bosh inspired. I feel, I mean, it's built by Dimitri, who was the Bosh PM at some point. Yeah, it's a Bosh-like experience for deploying stuff on Kubernetes. Kbundle to get rid of those floating images and have like actually deterministic deployments. Also Bosh inspired, I guess. Image package to take a collection of images and relocate them to a different place. We will be using that in this demo or in this session. And the KApp controller, which is, I don't know, KApp, but then as a controller on Kubernetes, which we will also be using. So the main focus will be on the last two parts in this talk. Yeah, what's on the menu? So we start out by having a K3s cluster deployed by Bosh. That's already running, hopefully. I don't know, there's a K3s Bosh release by Orange. That's what we use. Next, we will be getting a registry using the Docker registry Bosh release from the Cloud Foundry community. We will be packaging the OCI images and putting them actually in a Bosh release so that we can install them in an air-gapped environment, install the KApp controller, and then deploy the app from the demo from the previous talk using a package install CRD, and then Profit. Wait, I need to go switch to this. So yeah, need to SSH. Show this is our starting point. So let me show what we're dealing with. So we have nodes, right? So it's simple to node cluster, nothing on there yet. So in the next stage, I'm gonna kick off the deploy already, and then we go over what that deploy is actually gonna do, right? So to save on time a bit. Let's see. Yeah, so these files are all available, so there's an ops file that we're applying to add a registry, and then we'll go over what that does. So the registry part, so yeah, the Docker registry Bosh release. Of note here is that it doesn't provide a link, but we are using a custom provider definition to add a link so that we can add an alias here because we want to be able to resolve it using Bosh DNS. And then we use this as well here to inject the reference. Actually, we didn't need this part because we're using a static name, so we don't need the full Bosh DNS name. But it's still, I mean, I had it, so kept it. And here we're configuring it with a TLS certificate. And also we're using the OSConf CA certs job to trust the cert, because that's important, because otherwise we cannot pull images using the kubelet from that local registry. So maybe that's done. Well, it's in progress, but let's do the curl already. So what we want here, HTTPS and then registry.bosh. It's port 5000 v2. that we will at some point start working once the deploy is done. So where are we at? So the worker has been updated. We're now starting the jobs on the server. So there it works. So important here to note is that we were able to use the registry, the local Bosh DNS name, right? So that part worked. We're using HTTPS and we're not skipping TLS validation. So the certificate is trusted, right? So those parts work now. Okay. On to the next part. Wait for that deploy to finish. So yeah, we can already go over this a bit. So for the next bit, what we will be doing, we will be spinning up a registry locally using the distribution project. Yeah, it's the upstream Docker, canonical Docker registry implementation. And then we spin up that locally, and then we use the image copy command. We configure it with a temporary directory. And then we use image copy to copy the bundle from the previous demo, right? That's this stuff, into that local repository. And then we will go find the blobs, which are the actual images, and a bunch of metadata files that it also creates. And then we copy each blob and add it as a Bosh blob. And then the metadata we just copy into the source directory. Let's see if we can already start that. Yeah. So we can do bin sync blobs. I don't know, this is going to be dependent on internet here, but you can see it starts the registry. Now it's copying all the blobs. Huh? It's doing stuff. And what image package or image package does is it uses also image bundle to resolve all the references, and then for each image that it finds, it copies it to a single repository and then just adds tags for every digest. So basically, like, it doesn't retain the full names to the images, just like, it's all under in one place basically, which makes it really easy for this use case. And then let's open up another terminal. We have a release directory. Actually, I will go talk, while this runs, we will go over the other parts of the release. So yeah, we will also add a simple package, registry data, reference the blobs and the repository files, and have a simple packaging script which just copies these files into a directory. Needs this directory structure, that's just what the registry project expects. And then we're updating or configuring the Docker registry to use a different route to point to the package. Okay, so we can see now here that we have blobs, right? So we have a bunch of blobs in our registry, or not in our registry, on our Bosh release. And there's in the source directory, no, that's not it. Yeah, so here we can see the repo layers and all these references, the metadata basically. Yeah, I mean, we can do the Bosh create release and then upload it, but you all know that part, so I've done that already. Let me do the manifest deploy stage 2. So we're gonna actually make that happen. Is there anything more I needed to discuss here? No, that's the next stage. So while we wait here, let's get a copy of the Carvel tools. Those are not strictly needed, but it makes it for a better demo because there's a CLI that we can use to interact with the KApp controller. So yeah, while we wait, let's get those. And I reviewed that install script. It's totally sane. This is a thing you should just do and trust the system. Yeah. So we have the CLIs now, and then we're gonna do curl again. Wait, I did it already. And then we're gonna look for the repo. It's called repo. Tags. No, not tags. Tags. List. We're gonna just pipe that in YTT because we have it. That didn't work yet because it's still deploying, right? So, yeah, now I would need a Kubernetes joke. I don't have one. Post start server. Wait, that means it should be there. Mapping files. What are we getting actually? Ooh. Tags. What am I doing wrong here? Maybe it's tag. Let's look at my notes. There was a typo, something. Or just time. But yeah, so we can see these tags, right? So these are all the relocated images. So they are now in the local repository. And then we can move on to the next bit. So the deploy has finished. I'm gonna kick off deploy 3, which is bringing in even more ops files. So you can see we're just adding more and more ops files, but let's go over what that does. So yeah, we will be installing the KApp controller. So there's an upstream file that you can that has all the definitions of the resources that you need, the Kubernetes, but I converted it into an ops file so we can use the additional manifest property in the K3S release to get our definitions in. So that's deploying now. Additionally, this was the hacky bit. We need the KApp controller to trust our registry. It's CA. And there was an issue with the indentation of the CA certificates because the additional manifests expect YAML strings. So I did this thing where I added an additional file to the K3S manifest directory just to get that in. Sure, it works, right? This could be improved, but if it works, I guess. And then the other part, there's a package repository definition, which points at the registry bundle, or the image package bundle, right? So that's an important bit. So that has now been deployed, which means we can do control packages. No, wait, was it A? Sorry, notes. Wait, it should be that. Oh, that's installed. Oh, here it is. Okay. So as we can see here, we now have a package that's available that we can install. And also the other one is also quite nice to look at, because then we can see that it actually resolved this. Sorry, yes, I will speak louder. We can see that it was resolved locally, right? So we can see that it points at the local repository and that it loaded it from there. It did have some issues with resolving DNS, but that eventually solved itself because DNS does that. I don't know what the root cause is. It's a bit, I don't know. I haven't had the time to look into that one.
Experimental.
Yeah, experimental. It kind of works. Yeah. So on to the last part. So yeah, so all that's left now is to use a package install CRD to actually install that package with a version and read some values from a secret. And that's what's being done now. While we wait, in the interest of time, we can go over future improvements. Yeah, so the workflow of getting those blobs into the release could be simplified. I mean, it's basically 3 different Go CLIs that are being used. I mean, that could all be integrated into one to make it easier. I mean, yeah, the CA certificate and trusting that's could be solved by just making a KApp controller Bosh job and have the templates in there. Use ERB for rendering the multi-line or the multi-line CA certificate. And this is an important one. So what has not been taught through, or it has been taught through, but it hasn't been implemented. So what happens during an update, right? Because if you get a new package or a new version of your images in the current implementation, the old ones will be unavailable for a brief period of time. And that means, like, if a container crashes and has not been updated, it won't be able to pull the image used. So yeah, there's a bit of a timing thing, but that could be resolved by just copying the images and the metadata onto a persistent disk in pre-start and do some cleanup after you deploy something with, like, inspecting the Kubernetes cluster for references to images being used. So let's see if the deploy worked. Just for the interest of time, copy paste stuff. I don't know if the DNS gods helped or resolved this already or not. Yeah, no, it's still reconciling. So, so the DNS is still being annoying. So let's go over questions, and then we can see if DNS resolves itself. Questions? No?
Why Carvel again?
Why Carvel? Yeah, I mean, taking image, like, I think the problem of taking all of the Kubernetes goodness and bringing that into an air-gapped environment is an interesting problem. And I think that's done pretty well with the Carvel tooling, so it's a great candidate for that. So if you want to Boshify some of the Kubernetes native stuff, maybe a Helm chart even, like using the Carvel tooling is pretty neat for that. So yeah, that's why. Let's see if I can redeem myself. Yes! So it worked. Okay. That's it.